Um,
This One's Wife. It gets worse. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. A couple of days ago, This One's Wife clambered up on stage and naturally wrapped her claw-like fingers around a microphone, as there's nothing more that she enjoys than getting hold of the phallic-shaped object and talking into it. And she told us, for this next panel, we're going to turn to one of the most urgent questions facing families today. What's happening to childhood, and how and what we do to allow our children to just be children. 3 years ago, we had met with families whose worlds had been absolutely shattered. Parents who had lost children to social media-driven suicide. Others who had lost so many of their children to struggles with depression, anxiety, self-harm, all inflicted by online harms. What we learned in these moments is that these parents, they didn't just need therapy, they need the other parents who understood their very specific grief. And when they came together, they weren't just sharing stories, they're creating a movement. They turned their grief into advocacy, and when they let love fuel their fight for change, we saw tremendous impact. Protection from online harms. People who'd lost their children to harm inflicted by online harms. This One's Wife, piggybacking the tragedy of other people for the purposes of making it look like she cares. This is her utilization of this facade of supposed caring for the purposes of assertion of control and the drawing of fuel, something that you are fully familiar with as a consequence of my work, and by virtue of the fact that This One's Wife is a narcissist. So what then follows? Well, what I've read to you is reported in People. Of course it is. Supine publication that supports This One's Wife. And barely 2 days after making that speech, People reports, Chrissy Teigen has a friend in This One's Wife. Speaking exclusively with People about her advocacy for type 1 diabetes screening at Hello Sunshine's Shine Away event on Saturday, October the 11th, the 39-year-old model recalled making an appearance on Season 2 of the Duchess of Sussex's Netflix series with Love Meghan, and their friendship since. I adore her, Teigen said of This One's Wife. I really adore her. I think she is so incredibly strong. It is insane to me how polarizing she is for so many different people, when she really is just a kind, good person that wants the best for all her friends, and the best for people around her, and the best for her own relationship and for her children, she added. Well, it's not such a surprise that someone as odious as This One's Wife's new friend, Chrissy Teigen, fails to understand why This One's Wife is polarizing, because she can't understand why she is polarizing. Although it's pretty simple. When it comes to Chrissy Teigen, she is an horrible, bullying, nasty pedo woman who encouraged a child to take a dirt nap, laughed about the self-harming of Lindsay Lohan, that she has written things about young children which, quite frankly, demonstrate a rather disturbing sexual view of them. And yet, this is the woman that This One's Wife pals on with and is now being spoken about in such glowing terms. It's like getting an endorsement from Jeffrey Epstein. Nobody wants that. And yet, This One's Wife, it demonstrates the level of desperation that she has, because if this is the only person that you're able to roll out to sing your praises, it doesn't look particularly good. And to follow so hard on the heels of This One's Wife telling us all about the necessity of protecting children from online harm, what happens? Along comes the embodiment of an online harm. A famous woman, a wealthy woman, who has considerable reach, who used the internet to bully people, to encourage them to harm themselves, and to engage in behaviours which anybody with any sense would recognise as nasty, unpleasant, and disturbing. And yet, this one's wife talks about the necessity of protection. Previously, of course, I highlighted the hypocrisy and distaste of involving Chrissy Teigen on the show, but it doesn't end there, which once again demonstrates that there is no self-reflection with this one's wife. People can make mistakes, of course they can, and it might be the case that as a consequence of filming schedules, you realise, in retrospect, it might not have been a good idea to have her involved. I'll keep my distance from her. Indeed, even certain narcissists would do so because of the potential stink to their own reputation, being a threat to control. That they recognise that an individual is problematic, so they keep their distance from them. After all, there have been other narcissists that recognise that this one's wife is a problem, and therefore they have distanced themselves from her, but not this one's wife, demonstrating not only a complete lack of awareness, the fact that she's dim-witted, and quite simply that she doesn't care. She's content to continue to have an involvement with Chrissy Teigen, and naturally Teigen utilises her supposed friendship with this one's wife. Teigen told people that none of this one's wife's polarising actions have been made for public perception. According to her, the Duchess of Sussex just lives simply. She just wants those things, Teigen explained, and people come up with all these different things that she could be about or what she wants, but it's not that complicated. People are always going to read into what they want to read into, and they're going to hyperfocus into what they want to believe, she added. Well, it sounds like she's been recruited as a lieutenant, as a spokesperson now for this one's wife. I think it's cool that this one's wife is just like, listen, say whatever you want, I'm happy and I'm healthy and I feel good. When asked if she and her husband, John Legend, organised play dates for their kids, daughters Luna 9 and Esty 2, I'm surprised that she would be able to remember how old they are, plus son Miles 7 and Ren 2, presumably John Legend told people the ages of the kids, because after all, Chrissy Teigen couldn't even remember their birth dates. So she, when asked if she organised play dates between her children and this one's wife, she explained that while it would be a fun get-together, she doesn't leave the house. I'm not joking. I don't go anywhere. I try to do every photo shoot, everything at our house. So no, but if the time came up, absolutely. Accordingly, the kids don't play together. Wonder why that is? Answers on a postcard in the old style, as it used to be the case. It gets worse, because this one's wife stands up on a stage and bangs on about the necessity of protecting children from online harms, and then nearly 2 days later, in one of the supine publications, there is a PR puff piece pumping up the reputation of this one's wife, but it comes from Chrissy Teigen, who is the living embodiment of an online harm. It just shows the ridiculousness of both of these women. Both of them narcissists, although different types, and the fact that with this one's wife's behaviour, it's no surprise. The compartmentalisation of her narcissism means that she sees nothing wrong with standing up on a Friday and talking about the necessity of protecting children from online harms, and then to be spoken about and praised by an online harmer just 2 days later in a supine publication. This is what one comes to expect from this one's wife. And, as I've explained on so many occasions, the consequence of her overexposure is such that you end up seeing these behaviours writ large time and time again. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.